So is it true that you'd vote for one party and it would be bad, and then you'd vote for the other party and it would be just as bad, if not worse, and then you'd...
No, there wasn't really a separate party. Yeah. Vernon's a very conservative town.
Very conservative.
So it's all Republicans?
Well, Republicans and Democrats, sort of. There was sort of a Democratic Party. But
it's really kind of the, wait. Let me make sure I understand. Because I think it's kind of this way, except in reverse in the national level.
Right.
There's no real conservative party. Right. There's the Democrat Marxist, and then there's this liberal mush of the GOP.
Right.
Okay, so it's the opposite. This is conservative with no balance to it.
And what would happen? There'd be a primary. And whoever won the primary, the Republican primary, basically they won in November.
It was like de facto.
We actually had...
Wait, hang on just a second, Mary. Robert, what were you saying?
I said Sally Rinker broke the mold. She ran as an independent, and
is that why she won? Because you thought you were breaking out of the system?
There was a grassroots movement, and Sally Rinker actually got elected, but that grassroots movement included Vic Murata, it included... it was people of all parties. There were Democrats there.
The usual suspects.
Yeah, there was a crossing of the line, right? People came together and said, no more Democrat, no more Republican. We're going straight down the middle and putting Vernon first above all else.
This is before the change.
Right.
The election before the change.
Right.
Okay, and so, but that didn't change. It was just, they just morphed. Right.
I mean, Sally was a Democrat before she was a Republican, before she was an independent.
Right.
So she was...
They're just changing suits, but they're not changing...
Exactly. Not changing on the island.
I think a perfect example of what that party was is that the year before the change, we elected a gentleman who said nothing. He said nothing from the day he announced his candidacy to the day he got elected. He didn't attend a function. He didn't tell you his standings.
How did he win?
He won the primary.
He won the primary.
Okay.
He was part of them.
Right.
All right.
You're pretty much unopposed when you win the primary.
Okay.
Right.
So it's the party system. It's just kind of really the one-party system.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It's a one-party system.
All right. So are you guys... Is everybody conservative here, or relatively conservative? Yeah. Kind of? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. And this wasn't a... I mean, there were people that opposed this in town. I don't want to make it seem like there was no opposition.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We had fights.
All right.
Yeah.
So we know the tipping point. It was the pay scandal. Who said... Was the Declaration of Independence quoted at that time?
Not initially, no.
Okay.
No, but we need to give credit where credit's due. And Mary Ellen Vigilanti was at the forefront of actually introducing for the first time, how many years ago, Mary?
She went up to every new council
Yeah.
every year and said, we have the wrong kind of government. We need a mayor. We need to change this.
Right.
Every council, and they would all sit there and say, thank you very much. And nothing would happen. Nothing would change. And she did this probably 5 or 6 years.
6 years ago, yeah, at least.
And so finally she just said,
so it's one person that changed.
One person started
It was the one idea,
Absolutely.
but then it turned into 5 petitioners. And then, of course, there was Jesse Palladini, there was myself, that was one of the original petitioners, there was Bonnie Rubin, there was Mary Ellen Vigilanti,
and Steve Vigilanti, her husband.
Steve Vigilanti.
Who here, let's hear from the back row, because you guys are in the back row. Who here doesn't consider themselves an activist, never got into this kind of stuff, and you found yourself like, I got to say something, I got to do something.
Well,
Anybody?
Before this, very much so, yes.
Yeah, before this, okay. Yeah. All right, so there was the idea, started about 5 years ago, and did you receive, first it was dismissed. When did they stop dismissing or laughing at you?
When Vernon hit the newspapers, I work in New York City a lot with
I'm sorry
police.
for that.
I was down Occupy New York.
Yeah.
And what happened was, I'd go into work and people would say, where do you live? Vernon. Where's Vernon? What's Vernon?
Right.
When it started to hit the papers every week, a scandal, an argument, a childish behavior, and I would get from my friends, you live in Vernon? You live there?
Yeah. What the hell's going on in Vernon?
Yeah, and that's what happened.
Get that constantly.
Okay, no, but what I'm saying is, when did the politicians, when did the power in Vernon start to say, whoa, 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 Joe, sit down? Did they ever do that? Did they?
Yeah.
Okay, how did they do it and what did they do?
They did, yeah. They just came after you anyway. They started manipulating the papers. We have local papers, and suddenly the letters to the editors were pages to the editors.
Marie, tell me about the letters to the editor.
The letters to the editor, they would directly misquote something that had been said. They would, surprise, surprise, they'd spin it, they'd twist it. Yeah. They would get personal. There were attacks made on people's belief systems, on their ethnic backgrounds, ugly things, profanity.
Do everything that they could to scare you into sitting down.
Yeah, and there was the blogs, the online forum that it's
Well, those
called.
are nasty, aren't they?
It was really ugly,
Yeah.
and there were implications of actual illegal activity on the part of some of the petitioners to make their strengthen their case and strengthen their petitions.
All right, so you don't have the press. I mean, the rest of the press is absent. I mean, so you don't. Besides Jessica, besides you, was there any member of the press that was good to this?
No, they were afraid. No,
they were.
It seemed like they were afraid.
No, not during this time.
Okay.
No one was
so what
covering
was the turning point? How did you get the message out without any press, without any support, and nothing but smear? How did
Everywhere. The petitioners, we had about 35 people who said, okay, I'm going to take this petition and I'm going to hit the streets. We hit A&P, we hit the landfills, we hit every post office, we hit the liquor stores, we hit hardwares. They went door to door, they went everywhere. We worked 3 weeks, night and day. Vacations were taken. People, we lived at the A&P. When it came into lull, we actually brought our dog in to attract people, because we have a large Irish wolfhound, and he attracts people, and people were coming to play with the dog so we could talk to them. So, we did anything.
And going home to get their family members and bringing them back to sign the petition.
That's right. See, Glenn, what you have to know about Vernon, it's a real bedroom community. People leave there 6:30 in the morning. They're gone for the day. They come back 7 o'clock at night.
To the city.
They're concerned
How far
about
away from the city are you?
about
60 miles.
Okay,
60
so
miles.
it's like, because I lived in New Canaan before I moved to the city.
Yeah.
It's about that distance.
But we don't have train service.
We don't have train
Oh,
service.
so it's
bus
a
service.
nightmare.
Yeah,
People
it's
it's
a
closed
zoo.
during the day.
Exactly. So they're all gone. They come back to feed their family. The weekends they spend with their kids, doing baseball, basketball, whatever. They really didn't care. They just wanted to get through.
Sure.
And they started, and what I think really started the whole process with you guys getting more and more petitioners, the stories kept building.
Absolutely.
You couldn't avoid the stories. Every week, our local paper had a lawsuit, or this, or that.
So what was the petition? What did the petition say, Mary?
The petition just said that we wanted to, under the Faulkner Act, we wanted to change our manager-council form to an elected mayor with a council, and that we wanted to go nonpartisan. It was real important to go nonpartisan. That was
Explain
the
that,
catalyst.
Well, we didn't want the party affiliation. We wanted to make up our own minds and be very independent in who we based our votes on, based on merit, based on value systems, based on beliefs, based on the Declaration of Independence, based on all those things, where we actually went in, touched the voting booth and said, here you go, this is what we're going to vote for, simply because I understand the issues, I want to make an educated guess, and I want to just get rid of the rest of the guys who are in there. And there was a huge anti-incumbency, obviously, that was fueling this, too, because people are just fed up. So that's what was going on.
And they actually helped us. In the long run, all their fighting against us ended up helping us. Because in the middle of our...
George Soros and Van Jones made me into a superstar.
Yeah.
Because they fight. The harder they fight, the bigger you become.
Can I just jump in and just say this? One of the things that we prided ourselves on when we ran for office, and Joe ran and a number of others ran, we ran a clean campaign. I want to tell you why that's important, because we made up our minds early to base it on our own value systems. We were not going to get dragged into the mud, do all the mud wrestling. We kept it on the issues. We ran hard, we ran fast, and we won.
We got abused for being a team. We ran as a Vernon First team. There were 4 of us, and Vic Morata was running as mayor.
Yeah.
We got abused for that we were a team. We were just 5 individuals with really way out. I'm a libertarian. My son is, he writes for Jessica's paper. He's of this side of left. I didn't even know that he voted for me, honestly, in the election. but the bottom line is, I got involved in this because he couldn't vote. He's 21 years old. He was independent. He couldn't vote. Where in this country can you not vote?
GBTV. The truth lives here.